Vladimir Lenin. Lenin's Descent. The bloody forge of Utopia. The Petrograd night was a frozen abattoir, the air thick with coal smoke and the metallic tang of blood. The city's streets a jagged scar of war and starvation. Vladimir Lenin, a wiry specter with a bald skull gleaming like a guillotine blade, paced his Kremlin office, boots grinding ash into splintered floorboards. The Russian Civil War howled outside, white armies tearing at his Bolshevik dream. And Lenin clutched a battered violin case, not for music, but for the Nagant pistol inside. Its steel as cold as his soul. He was no fiddler. His English was a halting snarl, learned in exile's shadows. But the case was his talisman, a splintered relic of the chaos he'd unleashed to hammer Russia into socialism. Tonight, he faced a truth blacker than a Neva's depths. To force equality, he'd have to slaughter anyone who dared think free. His paranoia a rabid dog gnawing at every ally, every shadow. This was his tale, a plunge into madness and murder. Mirrored in the woke crusaders of 2025 America, who had burned the world to ash rather than let it stand unequal. The office was a cage of flickering lamplight, papers scattered like entrails, maps bleeding red ink from red and white fronts. Lenin's mind was a furnace. Socialism demanded unity. But Russia was a rabid beast. Peasants hoarding grain, intellectuals whispering heresy, workers spitting curses over empty bowls. His utopia, a classless Eden, was crumbling, and only a river of blood could possibly cement it. The woke in America echoed his mania. Their economic justice, a crusade to level wealth and thought, shaming the successful as oppressors, just as he, Lenin, had branded kulaks, his enemies. The woke weapons were softer, shame, cancellation, for now. But their goal was his: control, purity, submission. Lenin's violin case rattled, a grim metronome for the killing to come. As he realized the price of his dream, a nation of corpses or slaves. The calculus of carnage. Lenin hunched over a map, his finger tracing the Volga where white forces butchered red villages. Equality wasn't a handshake, it was a meat cleaver. And he'd swing it until Russia knelt. The Cheka, his secret police, had executed 50,000 by 1919. Their reports, a litany of bullets and nooses. But it was a drop in the bucket. Kulaks hid grain, priests preached defiance, intellectuals scribbled doubts, each a tumor in socialism's heart. To forge his vision, he would kill millions, their blood the mortar for his utopia. His pen scratched an order: liquidate all who resist collectivization. A sick grin twisted his lips. not from joy, but from the psychopathic thrill of power, seeing enemies in every face, even his own reflection. The woke in America mirrored this. Their economic justice a guillotine for the privileged. Demanding wealth and thought be leveled, no dissent spared. A Cheka officer burst in, breathless, reporting a peasant revolt in Tambov. Lenin's eyes slitted, paranoia coiling like a viper. You hiding their leaders' names? He snarled, fingers brushing the violin case. The officer stammered loyalty, but Lenin ordered him shadowed. Trust was a corpse he had buried in Siberia. He would kill 1,000 to sniff out one traitor, just as the woke would ruin a man for a single wrong word. Revolts end in blood, he muttered, his laugh a dry rasp like a shovel on a coffin lid. Paranoia's stranglehold. The Petrograd wind shrieked like a banshee, carrying screams from the Peter and Paul fortress where the Cheka firing squads worked overtime. Lenin's paranoia was a living beast, its claws in his owl eyes. Trotsky's sharp tongue, Kamenev's soft eyes, even his cook's trembling hands. Every whisper was a plot, every pause a betrayal. He'd built socialism on suspicion, ordering purges of counter-revolutionaries on mere hunches. A worker's complaint? Bullet to the skull. A scholar's question? Rope around the neck. His violin case lay open, the pistol gleaming like a lover's promise, ready to silence any who wavered. He'd kill his entire Politburo if they blinked wrong, because equality demanded purity, and purity demanded death. The woke in America shared his sickness. Their economic justice, a witch hunt for heretics, branding the successful as oppressors to be shamed or erased. They didn't shoot. They ostracized their algorithms and mobs as merciless as Lenin's Cheka. He laughed, a sound like cracking ice. Imagine their sanctimonious faces facing his firing squads. They think they're kinder, he muttered, scrawling another purge order. Cleanse the Petrograd Soviets of doubters. His aide hesitated, and Lenin's glare was a bayonet. Question me, he hissed, hand on pistol. No one was clean, not even Lenin, but he'd kill to hide it. Terror, the blacksmith of socialism. Petrograd bled under Lenin's orders. The Red Terror, a tidal wave of executions, 100,000 dead by year's end, kulaks shot, priests strung up, workers broken for stealing crusts of bread. Lenin stood at his window, watching carts haul bodies from the fortress, their eyes frozen in betrayal, mouths gaping like fish on a hook. Socialism wasn't a debate. It was a sledgehammer, and dissenters were the slag to be crushed. His paranoia justified every death, each corpse a threat, each survivor a suspect. He'd kill until Russia was won or empty. His violin case, a totem of his fractured mind, the pistol his only god. The woke's economic justice is a shadow of this. their demands for fairness, a softer terror, forcing conformity through shame and exclusion. For now, punishing anyone who dared to rise above. Lenin's aide delivered a report. A Bolshevik officer questioned land seizures. Lenin scrawled, "Execute him publicly. Make an example." His voice was a snarl, humor black as gangrene. Let them see what happens to free thinkers. The woke did the same, canceling voices that challenged their dogma, their justice, a mask for control. Lenin's hand trembled, not from fear, but from the thrill of it. Killing was his art, and Russia his canvas. The price of a broken dream. Dawn broke over Petrograd, gray as a corpse's skin, the streets slick with frozen blood. Lenin walked them, his boots crunching ice and bone, the city a skeleton of his ambition. He had realized the cost. To force equality, he'd slaughter until only the obedient remained. His paranoia, a whip, driving the Cheka to new heights. Trotsky's ambition, Kamenev's doubts, he'd purge them too. Their names already on his list. His violin case swung at his side. The pistol, a promise of more graves. A mother begged for bread, her child a shriveled wreath. Equality, Lenin whispered. But the word was ash, his dream a pyre of bodies. He'd kill her if she hid a crumb, just as the woke would crush a man for hoarding success. The woke's economic justice chased the same lie, demanding wealth and power be leveled, silencing the free with social death instead of bullets. Lenin's lips curled, a sneer sharp as a razor. They'll learn, he muttered. Freedom dies under justice. He'd pay any price, millions of lives for his utopia. And they'd do the same. Their mob's a pale echo of his terror. The abyss of a tyrant's soul. Lenin returned to his office. The city screams a hymn to his madness. True manhood was sacrifice, but his was a perversion, sacrificing others for a dream that ate itself. He'd kill millions, suspect everyone, because socialism demanded a graveyard. The woke were his heirs. Their economic justice, a guillotine for thought, punishing dissent to enforce a hollow equality. Lenin strummed an imaginary chord on his violin case, a dirge for Russia's soul. He wrote his final order. Purge until none resist. His laughter was a death rattle, his paranoia a noose around his own neck. He spoke to his boys, voice a shard of broken glass. This is Papa for the boys. The woke in America chase my shadow, using justice to chain what bullets broke. Be men. Fight for truth, for family, not for forced equality. Keep your iron will. Keep your heart free. Lenin's ghost haunts their words. Bury it.